Hello everyone, a very pleasant day to you. Tinubu orders security chiefs to hunt terrorists after 42 killed in Niger attacks. Federal government sets for African continental free trade areas preferential terms. An APC National Secretary warns Giadom over disrespecting Fubara to please Wike. A very good day to you and welcome to Impact News Hour on Firstness News Port Harcourt. I am Becky Usoro. Now the news in full. President Bola Tinubu has directed the Minister of Defense, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Service Chiefs, the Inspector General Police, and the Director General of Department of State Services (DSS) to track down and apprehend the perpetrators of the Kasuwan Daji attack in Niger State. President Tinubu ordered the security agencies to ensure that the terrorists were swiftly brought to justice. He also directed security agencies to rescue all the abducted victims urgently. Tinubu issued the directives in response to the recent killings of villagers in Niger State by terrorists suspected to be fleeing from Sokoto and Zamfara states following the United States airstrike on Christmas Eve. The president strongly condemned the attack on the Kasuwan Daji community and the abduction of women and children. He also sent his condolences to the families of the victims, as well as the government and people of Niger State. President Tinubu assured the people of Niger State that security agencies had been mandated to intensify operations around vulnerable communities, particularly those near the forest that have served as hideouts for criminal elements. He urged Nigerians to remain united and resolute in the face of this tragedy and cautioned against divisive rhetoric that could undermine national security and cohesion during this challenging period. Away from that story, Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, has disclosed that the government is ready to trade within Africa under the preferential terms of the African Continental Free Trade Area AFC-FTA agreement, confirming that the country had fulfilled key obligations under the agreement and protocols on trading goods and services, as well as digital trade by gazetting the relevant legal instruments. This was closed during the Niger AFC-FTA Achievement Report 2025, stating that the ministry had taken concrete steps to position and equip Nigerian businesses to succeed in the AFC-FTA market, adding that Nigerian businesses and products could benefit from better and preferential treatment in the AFC-FTA market. Oduwole noted that Nigerians signed the AFC-FTA agreement in 2019 and ratified it in 2020. In 2025, the government of Nigeria, through the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, revigorated implementation of the AFC-FTA agreement. The FMITI led Nigerian to many import first. Nigeria is the first AFC-FTA state party to undertake a review of implementation of the 5th year mark to ratify the AFC-FTA protocol on digital trade and to establish a dedicated AFC-FTA air cargo exports corridor. The report also presented renewed efforts into success on AFC-FTA implementation in 2025 that contributed to a thriving and prosperous One African market, stating that by July 2025, Nigeria became the first AFC-FTA state party to conclude and publish a review of AFC-FTA implementation at the 5th year mark, as mandated by Article 28 of the AFC-FTA agreement. This review is an honest and objective self-reflection to indicate frictions, challenges, and successes that had informed the actions by FMITI and the AFC-FTA. Moving on. Meanwhile, the Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Ayman Suleiman Ibrahim, has declared that leadership is beyond one-size-fits-all, emphasizing the importance of adaptability in effective leadership. Speaking at the 14th edition of the Inspiring Women African Conference held in Lagos, she noted that leadership cannot be discussed in isolation, emphasizing the importance of understanding the culture and dynamics of organization in effective leadership. According to Sulaiman Ibrahim, understanding the culture, power dynamics, and diversity of a team is crucial to effective leadership. Drawing from her experience as a banker, Sulaiman Ibrahim explained that she has worked in 5 banks each with its unique challenges and requirements. Away from that story, operative of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC and the officials of the Nigerian Correctional Service NCOS on Friday clashed at the Federal High Court Abuja over the trial of former Attorney General of the Federation AJF and the Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami's son. Apparently, the two agencies engaged themselves over who should be in charge of security during the trial of the former minister. Both officials of two agencies threatened to shoot themselves over who should take charge of security at the court's entrance. As at the time of this report, both EFCC and NCOS would now have to clear journalists before gaining access to the court. They, however, stopped some journalists from gaining access into the courtroom, saying the courtroom was filled up. Malami, Abdulaziz, and one Asebe Bashir were standing trial over allegation of fraud. Away from that story, the National Secretary of the All Progressive Congress APC, Senator Ajibola Basiru, has warned the National Vice Chairman South of the party, Victor Giadom, to stop disrespecting the Governor of Rivers State, Similar Fubara, to please the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Wike. This was at the Ijaw Youth Council IYC has endorsed Fubara for a second term in the office ahead of the 2027 general election. Giadom has, while speaking last Tuesday during Wike's thank you visit to the people of Gokana local government area of Rivers State, quoted have said, "To the so-called governor of Rivers State, to win anything in this state, you must go through Wike." The statement further gave fillip to the belief that Wike has renewed his political onslaught against Fubara ahead of the 2027 elections. Reacting, Basiru said it was unfortunate that a member of the National Working Committee (NWC) of the party was referring to a governor in the party as a so-called governor of Rivers State. He added that even if the governor was not a member of the ruling party, Giadom could not refer to an elected governor as a so-called governor in order to please anybody. The statement further gave fillip to the belief that Wike has renewed his political onslaught against Fubara ahead of the 2027 elections. Away from that story, the 2023 presidential candidate of the African Action Congress AAC, Omoyele Sowore, has criticized Nigerians' new tax reforms, warning that policies that burden poor citizens will provoke public resistance. The human rights activist in an interview on a television program argued that Nigerians are already overstretched economically and should not be subjected to additional tax pressure. He maintained that the focus of reform should be on widening the tax net rather than increasing taxes on citizens who are already overburdened. Sowore also questioned the credibility of official data used to justify the reforms, accusing the government of inconsistencies surrounding the tax regime. We now move on to the foreign scene. U.S. President Donald Trump has again proposed annexing Greenland after Denmark's leader urged him to stop the threat over the island. Speaking to reporters, U.S. President Trump has repeatedly raised the prospect of the semi-autonomous Danish territory becoming an annexed part of the U.S., citing its strategic location for defense purposes and mineral wealth. Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen responded by saying that's enough now and described the notion of U.S. control over the island as fantasy. Earlier, Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen has said the U.S. has no right to annex any of the three nations in the Danish kingdom. Frederiksen added that Denmark, and thus Greenland, was not a NATO member and covered by the alliance's security guarantee, and said a defense agreement granting the U.S. access to the island was already in place. The Danish Prime Minister released a statement after Katja Miller, the wife of one of Trump's senior aides, Stephen Miller, posted on social media a map of Greenland in the colors of the American flag alongside the word soon. The Danish ambassador to the U.S. responded to the post by Miller, a right-wing podcaster and former aide to Trump during his first term, with a friendly reminder that the two countries were allies and saying Denmark expected respect for its territorial integrity. And now on sports, Manchester United have parted ways with head coach Ruben Amorim. The club confirmed on Monday that Amorim, who was appointed in November 2024, leaves the role after leading the team to the UEFA Europa League final in Bilbao in May. With United sitting sixth in the Premier League, the club said the decision was taken in the belief that a change would give the team the best chance of securing the highest possible league finish this season. A statement, the club thanked Amorim for his service and wished him well in his future endeavors. Darren Fletcher will take charge of the team on an interim basis for Wednesday's Premier League clash against Burnley. That's all on the news this hour. I am Becky Usoro. Many thanks for watching. Bye for now.